In light of this whole Afghanistan situation, I heard a little rumor that the Mafia, Cosa Nostra, would they ever be involved with terrorists to plot against the United States? Let's find out. Hey everyone, welcome to another sit down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All good on this end. Back in the studio, you can see that. What's the topic for today? You know, every once in a while, I read a lot. I like to read. You know, I think I got that habit from spending almost 3 years in solitary when I read anything and everything I can get my hands on, mostly the Bible and books that, you know, had to do with my faith. But I read everything, you know. We used to get the newspapers, you know, 5 or 6 days later. But I found that, you know, there's just a lot of satisfaction in reading, and obviously you learn, and you can never know too much. You never can be educated too much, so I read a lot. And I came across a column. There's a guy by the name of Jerry Capisi. For those of you that don't know him, he's got a website called ganglandnews.com. Jerry is one of the foremost experts on organized crime. He was a reporter at one time for a big newspaper, then he started Gangland News. He was not very friendly with me and my father, you know, as far as what he wrote about us and a lot of guys on the street way back when. Since then, Jerry and I have become friends. Good guy. We speak a lot. I've done a few interviews for him that he's wrote up nicely. He's an honest guy. I think he writes as accurate as he possibly can. He had some pretty good contacts in government, and he used to, good sources, I should say, and he used to get some pretty good information. But I was reading a couple of his columns. I was looking for something, and I came across a column that really caught my eye. It was written in 2006. And the title of the article is, "Don't Buy the Story of Mob Terrorist Links." And they had a picture actually of Osama bin Laden. I could show it to you right there. And I started to read it and got me a little bit mad because I got to tell you, there is no connection whatsoever. There never was, and I don't think there ever will be any connection between Cosa Nostra, guys on the street, and terrorists. We didn't like those guys. We were very protective of our communities, of our family, of our country. And I know what you're going to say. Come on, Michael, you guys would. Yeah, we did commit criminal activity. There's no doubt about it. But there's a difference in that and wanting to protect our country and our loved ones and our families from outside interference. Yes, I was involved with the Russian mob guys, but we were stealing gas tax money. You know, we were committing crimes within the context of our country. Wrong, illegal, absolutely. But we weren't getting involved with outside invaders and terrorists that wanted to hurt our families, our communities, and people that we cared about. We were, in that regard, patriotic. Many of my former associates fought in the war and were proud of it. Many of them were highly honored, received medals. They went to war willingly. They enlisted, no doubt about it. So, you know, this thing of the mob connection with terrorism, absolutely not true. I want to read a little bit of the article. The Associated Press moved a story out of Washington last week that attempted to conjure up fears that greedy New York wise guys might peddle weapons of mass destruction to followers of Osama bin Laden looking to launch terrorist attacks on American soil. Absolute nonsense. I never heard that during my time. Obviously, I was out of the life. My dad wasn't. I talked to my dad quite a bit. This stuff never happened, nor will it ever happen. Dated October 1st, it ran under a scary headline. The feds worry that terrorists, mobsters might collaborate. Its impact, however, was that of a report that was either 6 months late or 6 months early, one dated April Fool's Day. In other words, this was a joke. 6 knowledgeable gangland sources on both sides of the law all agreed that the story was hogwash, with only a couple expressing the caveat that anything is possible. That's not possible. Even though it's been well established that mobsters live to make money any way they can, in many ways that's true, New York FBI spokesman Jim Margolin, who I knew, said that in the 5 years since 9/11, the FBI has uncovered, quote, no evidence of any links between the mob and international terrorist groups, unquote. Not true. Ed McDonald, my prosecutor, the guy that I took the plea for, a former chief of the Federal Organized Crime Strike Force, said, quote, I don't see any of the 5 families authorizing anything like that, what is being suggested, no matter how desperate they become. As a practical matter, they would consider any involvement with terrorists too risky, given all the government heat on terrorism and a fear that terrorists could not be trusted. Let me tell you something. It's not a question that's going to be too risky. We would not get involved with terrorists. Like I said, people love this country. Even though we were criminals at that time, it doesn't mean we didn't love our country. It doesn't mean we didn't love our families, our communities. And please, I know I'm going to get hit on this with some of the comments, so I want you to understand what I'm saying. Yes, we were involved in criminal activity within our country, no doubt about it. But we drew the line at having outside interference. Terrorists come and blow up our buildings, destroy our communities, go after our government. We wouldn't stand for that. As a matter of fact, if we could have got to Osama bin Laden before he did his mass destruction, we would have done that. We wouldn't tolerate anything like that. And people, I need you to understand that. I'm not glorifying my former life or my former associates, but you got to draw the line someplace, and I'm drawing it here. 2 totally diverse sources, a son of an incarcerated mobster who noted that Lucky Luciano helped the Allied effort during World War II, and a retired FBI agent who worked on a squad that nailed the aforementioned wise guy. Each cited love of country in ripping the story as nonsense. I'd find it hard to believe that American mobsters would knowingly assist any terrorist group. These guys are actually somewhat patriotic, said the former G-man. I don't have to go into any further than that, people. I just want to debunk this story. You know why? I've heard a little bit about it in recent times. Some people have been suggesting that. I've seen some stories online. There's a lot of guys online telling mob stories and talking about different things. I want to debunk this before it ever comes up. Now that the threat of terrorism has come to light again because of this whole Afghanistan, Taliban, al-qaeda connection, people are worried and they're concerned about it. I want to put this to rest. There is no mob that's going to get involved, no Cosa Nostra, no mafia in this country that's ever going to assist a terrorist. And I believe that with all my heart. Like I said, you got to draw the line someplace. So, in case you hear it, please come back to me. Don't take it at face value. Investigate it. Don't listen to it. Again, the reason I'm mentioning it, because I've heard a little something about it, and I want to debunk it right off the bat with all the experience that I've ever had in that life. My father would never have thought of that. Persico, never have thought of that. Andrew Russo, never have thought of things like that. Neither would Fat Tony, I doubt the Chin, or any of those guys. So please, put it to rest. Cosa Nostra, Mafia, does not get in bed with terrorist groups. That's it. Okay, hope I put that to rest. So, that's it for today. I want to remind you, subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get inside information. A lot of stuff is coming up. You get to hear it first. How do I always leave you? Be safe, be healthy, God bless, and God willing, I want to always put that first. I'll see you next time. Take care.